A man walked into an animal shelter, thinking he was saving a dog's life. He had no idea the dog was about to save his. But there was a problem. This wasn't just any dog. This was a soldier who hadn't slept in 11 months. A warrior who stood guard every single night, watching doorways like death itself was waiting on the other side. And the reason why will absolutely break your heart. The adoption counselor's hand trembled as she slid the file across the desk. "Mr. Coleman, before you meet him, you need to understand something. Phantom isn't like the other dogs here." James Coleman, 42, scarred jawline, eyes that had seen too much in Kandahar. He leaned forward in his wheelchair. 3 years since the IED took his ability to walk normally. 3 years since Sergeant Danny Reeves died in the explosion. 3 years since sleep felt like anything other than a battlefield. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "neither am I." She hesitated, fingers hovering over the manila folder. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting everything in that particular shade of institutional hopelessness. Phantom served 4 tours as a military working dog, explosives detection. He saved 47 documented lives. Then his handler, Staff Sergeant Elijah Torres, was killed right in front of him, stepped on a pressure plate Phantom hadn't cleared. James felt his throat tighten. It wasn't the dog's fault. No, the device used new technology they hadn't trained for, but Phantom doesn't know that. Since Elijah died 11 months ago, Phantom hasn't slept, not properly. He stands in doorways all night, just stands there, watching. We've had 5 families return him. They couldn't handle it. James looked at the photo. The German shepherd's eyes were the same ones he saw in his mirror every morning at 0500 hours, when nightmares ripped him awake. Empty, watching, waiting to fail again. When can I meet him? If you're already feeling this, if something in your chest just tightened, hit that like button. I spent days researching military working dogs and PTSD in veterans to get this story right. The algorithm only pushes content people engage with, so if you want more stories that actually matter, that honor these heroes, show YouTube you care. It takes 1 second. The shelter's back kennel smelled of disinfectant failing to cover despair. Phantom sat in the corner of the last cage, muscles coiled, eyes fixed on some invisible threat. James rolled closer. "Hey, soldier?" Nothing. He pulled out a worn military patch, 3rd Special Forces Group, Elijah's unit. He'd researched, made calls to old contacts. "I served with the 75th Ranger Regiment. Different deployment than Elijah, but same sand, same heat, same demons. They say you don't sleep, that you stand guard all night, waiting for something that's never coming." Phantom's ear twitched.
"I get it. I do the same thing, except I'm stuck in that Humvee, rewatching the moment, trying to spot the why before it kills Danny. I can't promise the nightmares stop. I can't promise you'll forget Elijah. But maybe we don't have to stand watch alone anymore." 7 seconds of silence. Then Phantom stood, walked forward with perfect military precision, and rested his massive head on James's knee. The weight of a broken thing choosing to trust again hit James harder than the IED had. His hands found the soft fur behind Phantom's ears. For the first time in 11 months, Phantom sighed. Not a whimper, a sigh of someone who'd forgotten what oxygen felt like. "Yeah, buddy, I know exactly how you feel."
The paperwork took 47 minutes. The counselor listed Phantom's needs, Anxiety medications he refused to take, joint supplements, special diet, nightmare protocols. When they have them, don't wake him suddenly. Approach from the side, speak softly, let him come back on his own. James knew that protocol. His ex-wife had received the same instructions before she decided loving someone who woke up swinging at shadows was too much work. The drive home was silent, except for highway hum and Phantom's measured breathing. James glanced in the rearview mirror. Phantom sat perfectly still, scanning for threats that would never come. No expectations, James said. You don't have to be anything but what you are. A soldier who did his job and got stuck with the worst prize. More time to remember. The apartment was ground floor, wheelchair accessible, no stairs for Phantom to guard. At the threshold, Phantom stopped for a full minute, calculating, assessing, check corners, identify exits, establish security perimeter. Finally, he stepped inside. He moved through like a ghost. Living room, clear. Kitchen, clear. Bathroom, clear. Bedroom. He stopped in the doorway and stayed there. You can come in. That bed's yours. No rules, except don't piss on the carpet. In darkness, he listened to both their breathing. Phantom's was steady, controlled, the breathing of someone on watch. I know what you're doing. You think if you stay awake, if you watch hard enough, you can stop it happening again. You think vigilance can save him. But he's gone, and you standing there won't bring him back. I've tried every version of that equation. Stayed awake 72 hours once, thinking if I didn't sleep, I wouldn't see Danny's face. Didn't work. He was waiting when I collapsed. The confession felt heavy. We're not standing watch. We're stuck, frozen where everything went wrong. And I don't know how to get unstuck. Then James did something unplanned. He pulled himself from bed, lowered to the floor, and crawled to the doorway. Every movement was agony, but he made it. He sat beside Phantom. If you're standing watch, I'm standing watch with you. You don't do this alone anymore. They sat together in darkness. At 0500 hours, James felt it, a weight against his shoulder. Phantom had sat down. His head rested on James's arm, and his eyes slowly closed. That's it. I've got the watch tonight. You can rest, soldier. For the first time in 11 months, Phantom slept. 19 minutes later, he jolted awake, a short, sharp breath, a sound James recognized, the whimper of someone reliving their worst moment. Phantom scrambled up, eyes wild, searching for threats existing only in memory. Hey, you're safe. We're in Virginia, not Kandahar. We're home. James grabbed his old service jacket and wrapped it around Phantom's shaking body. Smell that? Cotton and laundry detergent. Nothing burning, no cordite, no blood, just normal. Slowly, the wild look faded. James stayed until sunrise, legs numb, back screaming. Some things were more important than comfort. Days bled into weeks. Every morning James woke to find Phantom in the doorway. Every morning he joined him on the floor, and every morning Phantom slept a little longer before memories ripped him back. 19 minutes became 27. 27 became 43. 43 became an hour and 12 minutes. Progress. Painful, glacial progress that meant everything. During the day,
They developed their own language. James worked from home, freelance IT consulting. Phantom would lie near his desk, close enough to see him, far enough for tactical awareness. "Listen to this," James said one afternoon, 3 weeks in. The detective looked at the body and knew immediately what had happened. God, this is terrible writing. Phantom's tail moved, once, barely. "Did you just judge my book choice? You're a literary critic now?" Phantom turned his head with an expression that clearly said, "Yes, and your taste is questionable." James laughed, actually laughed. When was the last time? Before the explosion? Before Danny? Phantom's ears perked at the sound. "Sorry, I forgot how to do that," laughing. "Feel like I need permission or something." Phantom rested his chin on his paws. "We're a mess, aren't we? Two broken soldiers playing house, pretending we're not one bad dream from falling apart. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we don't have to be fixed to be whatever this is." That night, Phantom slept 2 hours straight. Here's what most people don't know about military working dogs. These aren't pets who learned some tricks. They go through the same training pipelines as soldiers. They deploy to combat zones. They save lives. And when they come home, they suffer from PTSD just like human veterans do. The Department of Defense estimates that about 5% of military working dogs show signs of canine PTSD. They have nightmares. They struggle to trust. And just like human veterans, they deserve support, treatment, and patience. If this story is teaching you something, if you're learning what these heroes go through, subscribe, because we need more people who understand that healing isn't just for humans. The mistake happened on a Thursday. James had physical therapy at the VA hospital every Thursday. He usually took Phantom, but this week they were doing water work. Dogs weren't allowed in the pool area. "I'll just be 2 hours," James promised. "Mrs. Patterson next door has a key. You'll be fine." Phantom's eyes looked like he was watching the last helicopter leave. "I'm coming back, I swear. I'm not Elijah. I'm going to therapy, then coming home. 2 hours." But promises meant nothing to a dog who'd heard his handler's heartbeat stop. The therapy session ran long, then traffic was hell, an accident on the interstate. By the time James pulled in, 3 hours and 17 minutes had passed. Mrs. Patterson stood in the hallway, pale and shaken. "James, thank God. He started howling an hour after you left. When I tried to help, he looked at me like a threat. He wouldn't stop." James opened his apartment door. The living room was destroyed. Couch cushions shredded, stuffing everywhere. Coffee table overturned. The front door's inside was scored with deep gouges where Phantom had tried to claw through. Through the door, through the walls, through whatever separated him from the person who'd promised to return. Phantom? He found him in the bathroom, wedged between the toilet and the wall, shaking violently. His paws bled from torn claws, eyes unfocused, still trapped in hell. "Oh, God, buddy, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." James crawled across the debris. His legs screamed. He just pushed past limits in therapy, but he didn't care. He reached Phantom and wrapped arms around him.
"I'm here. I'm right here. I'm not Elijah. I'm not dead. I'm here." But Phantom just shook, waiting for the universe to decide if he deserved to lose someone else. "I'm not going anywhere." James knew how hollow it sounded. Danny had promised his wife he'd come home. Elijah probably told Phantom good boy right before stepping on the pressure plate. Promises were wishes shouted into voids. I'm not going anywhere. This time, it was a vow to himself. He held Phantom for 4 hours, held him while the shaking subsided, held him while his legs went numb and his back seized. Some promises were worth keeping, even when they felt impossible. That night, neither of them slept. If you've ever felt that abandonment wound that never heals, that certainty everyone you love will leave, I need you to subscribe. Not for me, for everyone watching who feels like Phantom, who's waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're not alone. We survive by finding each other. Subscribe, because we all need to know we're not the only ones fighting battles that officially ended years ago.
The breakthrough came on a Tuesday, 3 weeks after the bathroom incident. James was cooking breakfast, scrambled eggs, slightly burnt. The smoke alarm went off, sending Phantom into defensive posture, ears back, muscles coiled. "It's okay," James said. "Just my continued inability to cook like an adult." But when he turned, he saw something impossible. Phantom was sitting, not at attention, not in the doorway, just sitting in the kitchen, head tilted, watching James, with what almost looked like amusement. What? Phantom's tail moved. Not once, not barely. It wagged. 3 full wags. James felt his chest tighten. This broken, traumatized, hollowed-out soldier of a dog was wagging his tail at James's cooking incompetence. "You think this is funny?" Another tail wag. James started laughing, then crying, then both, standing in his kitchen with burnt eggs and a screaming alarm, and a dog who'd just wagged his tail for the 11th month. He scraped the eggs into Phantom's bowl. Phantom stood, walked over, and ate. Not frantically. He just ate breakfast, like a normal dog. "We're going to be okay, aren't we?" After that morning, things shifted. Phantom still had nightmares, but 4 times weekly instead of nightly. He started playing with toys, testing whether joy was allowed. James noticed changes too, sleeping past 0500 sometimes, laughing at stupid TV, calling his sister back after months of ignored voicemails. "You sound different," she said. "Less haunted. What changed?" James looked at Phantom, sleeping near his feet. Actually sleeping. "I got a dog. That's everything."
3 months in, James made a terrifying decision. He was taking Phantom to the Veterans Memorial Park, a place he'd avoided since moving to Virginia. Too many memories, too many names on too many walls. But they were having a canine memorial ceremony, honoring military working dogs who'd served and died. Maybe this wasn't for James. Maybe this was for Phantom. The memorial park was devastating. Perfect grass, flags at half-mast, names etched in stone outlasting the memories of people reading them. James found Elijah Torres's name. Next to it, smaller letters, K9 Phantom, served with honor. "Look," James said softly. "They remembered you, both of you." The ceremony started. Sacrifice, service, the debt we owe those who serve on 4 legs. Someone played taps. Grown men cried. James cried for Danny, for Elijah,
for every soldier who came home in pieces. Then, something unexpected. A man approached, 70-something, wearing a veteran's cap from Elijah's unit. "Is that Phantom?" James nodded. "I'm William Torres, Elijah's father. I heard he'd been adopted. They told me a veteran took him, but I didn't know I'd see him again." William knelt, old knees cracking, hand out to Phantom. For a long moment, Phantom just stared. Then he stepped forward and pressed his head into William's palm. The old man broke, sobbing, holding Phantom like he was holding his son. "Thank you. Thank you for taking care of my boy's dog, for giving him what Elijah would have wanted, for not giving up. He saved me," James said. "I should be thanking him." Elijah used to say Phantom knew things, knew when soldiers were struggling. Maybe that's why he picked you. After the ceremony, William gave James something. A worn collar with a tag. This was Phantom's first collar, from when Elijah got him. "I want you to have it, because you're his person now." James held the collar, feeling the weight of trust, of being chosen by something that didn't choose lightly. "I won't let him down. You already haven't."
But life doesn't do happy endings without testing them first. 2 weeks after the memorial, James noticed Phantom wasn't eating. Then he started breathing differently, shallow, labored. The emergency vet's office smelled like endings. "Mr. Coleman, I'm afraid Phantom's heart is failing. Given his age, stress, history, trauma, I'm surprised he made it this long." James felt the floor drop. How long? Days, maybe a week. "Can you do anything?" "We can make him comfortable, but no, his heart is worn out. His heart is worn out." James looked at Phantom on the examination table, breathing slowly, eyes fixed on James as if he was the only thing worth watching in the universe. "Then we go home, and I will make sure his last days are good ones."
If this is breaking your heart, drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. Last week was the best week.
James called in sick, canceled appointments, stopped answering his phone. Just him and Phantom, living like they had all the time in the world, knowing they didn't. They sat in the park and watched sunsets. They ate steak for breakfast. James read aloud while Phantom slept beside him, finally, peacefully, without nightmares. "He would have been proud of you," James whispered one night, "for surviving, for trying to live when living hurt. That's the hardest thing a soldier can do, come home and actually be home. And you did it." On the 7th day, Phantom didn't get up. James carried him to the couch in the sunlight. Phantom's breathing was labored, each breath a battle. "You know what I realized? You taught me that healing isn't forgetting. It's not about nightmares stopping or pain going away. It's finding someone willing to sit in the dark with you until the sun comes up. You gave me that, and I hope I gave it to you too." James lay beside him, face in Phantom's fur, memorizing this moment. "Thank you for letting me stand watch with you. Thank you for trusting me when trust was the hardest thing you could give. And thank you for showing me broken things can still love. You can rest now, soldier. I've got the watch from here." At 14:37 hours on a Tuesday, with sunlight warming his fur and James' hand on his heart. Phantom stopped standing guard. He was home, he was safe, and he was loved. James buried Phantom in the veterans' cemetery. It took calls, letters, and arguments with bureaucrats who said animals didn't qualify. But James didn't care. Phantom had served. Phantom had saved lives. Phantom deserved honor. The headstone was simple. It read, Phantom, Military Working Dog, Canine Corps. He stood watch so others could sleep. 7 veterans showed up, strangers who'd heard the story. William Torres was there too, 73 years old, bent with grief. "Thank you," he said. "Thank you for giving my son's dog a good death, for giving him peace." After everyone left, James stayed. "I'm going to foster another one," he said to the grave. "There's a Malinois at the shelter. Her handler died, and she hasn't eaten properly since. They say she's unadoptable. I think she just needs someone who understands, someone who knows what it's like to lose your person and keep living anyway." He placed a challenge coin on Phantom's headstone. "The most courageous thing a broken person can do is try to love again. So that's what I'm going to do. Keep standing watch for the ones who can't sleep, because someone did it for me. Rest easy, soldier. Your watch is over." But James's watch had just begun.
I need 3 things from you. First, hit that like button. I spend hours researching these stories to honor real veterans and canines. The algorithm doesn't care, but you do. Second, subscribe. There are hundreds of thousands of veterans and working dogs standing in doorways at 3 a.m. right now. Every subscription tells me these lives matter. Don't subscribe for me, subscribe for them. Third, drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me if you've got a phantom in your life, because we're all standing watch for someone, and we only get through it together. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. Until next time, take care of each other. Your watch matters.